reflect back and I say, man, this is real. This is what I needed to know years ago. This is what I would encourage young men to grab onto and to commit to. Just making sure that you're aware of your surroundings, of who you're talking to, who you're affecting.
Live above reproach. It may not be a sin issue. It could be just an appearance issue, could be anything, and it hurts you in the eyes of others. You made a comment. You said you wish you had heard of this earlier. Are you willing to share an example from your own life?
Yeah. What I meant by that is that
Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. I'm Jim Ramos, your guide and host, leading you to your best version in the stress bubble, don't spill the coffee, of life and beyond. I'm super excited today to bring you one of our Average Joe episodes. But guys, as I say over and over again, these aren't average Joes. These are guys that are crushing it in their local area. They're friends of mine that I've known many years, and I trust them. Today, I've got my friend on here, Kent Mahelona. So Kent and I have known each other since 2006. 20 years. Kent is retired from the food services industry. He oversaw the whole warehouse for our entire school district. He's been married to his beautiful wife, Patty, for 40, not 14, 40 years. 40. That's more than most of you have been alive. 40 years. Man, that's so awesome, man. 40 years. Anyway, he's a great friend. Ken, if you come to our Wednesday night men's service with almost 100 guys a week, Kent will be one of the guys greeting you at the door. He's the guy, he's our 24-foot guy. So from the door to our welcome table, Kent and his team are the guys that do it. So I love this guy and trust this guy. And so Kent, it's awesome to have you on the show, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
It's
good to be here.
It is good to have you here, bro. It is really good to have you here, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Well, what I didn't tell the guys is for the next 11 weeks, we are going to do an Average Joe episode every week for the next 11 weeks until the book that I wrote with my wife, Guardrails, 10 Boundaries for an Unbreakable Marriage, is released. So we're going to deal with one guardrail a week. 11. So there are 10 for married men and one chapter dedicated solely for the single men. And this chapter is chapter 1, and the chapter is titled
Living Above Reproach.
Living Above Reproach. Yeah. And the weird part about this, Kent, is for those of you who haven't read Dialed In, so Dialed In was the last book. That was the first of the 20 in the last book. And we came to this book, and it was
Be Alone with a Woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we came to the first guardrail in this book, Live Above Reproach, and the subtitle is Never Be Alone with Another Woman Who's Not Your Wife. And so really excited about this chapter, and I had you read the chapter, and you can make comments or questions or make statements, whatever. So, man, I'm going to release it to you, bro. What do you got from that chapter?
First of all, this is exciting to read about guardrails. I wish I knew about this like years ago.
Yeah.
So I would have avoided a lot of heartache. Yeah. And then, just hurting other people, in the process. I probably would have avoided that. So thank you, Jim, first of all, for bringing it about now. I guess it's timing because I'm at the age in the sunset years.
Yeah.
Where I reflect back and I say, yeah, man, this is like things that happen. This is real. This is what I needed to know years ago. This is what I would encourage young men to just grab onto and to commit to just making sure that you're aware of your surroundings, of who you're talking to, who you're affecting with every move that you make. The other thing I appreciate about Men in the Arena, what drew me back to start coming again, is that is your direct approach. It's like our world has become too loose.
Yeah.
And so these direct approaches that you are, that's a part of you.
Yeah.
You can't help but be that. And that's what I appreciate about you and this ministry that you have for the men. And so I think, again, our world has become too loose, too compromising. And so these direct approaches are effective and important. and vitally important for us.
I appreciate that. I recognize the need for that, but for me personally, it has to be done with love. I've got to be very careful to do it with love and to do it with vulnerability, and to not just hammer and directly approach, hammer these guys, but to say, hey, here's where I blew it, right? And then we won't talk about this in the pot right now, but part of the reason why you faded away was I had a little bit of an integrity breach, I would call it, about 15 years ago, and I feel it hurt some relationships locally, and I feel like you were one of those. And so we've talked a little bit about that. We won't talk about that today. That's a discussion for another time. But I felt like you have these hiccups with integrity, or you don't live above reproach. It may not be a sin issue. It could be just an appearance issue. It could be anything, and it hurts you in the eyes of others. But so you made a comment. You said you wish you had heard of this earlier. Are you? I'm not going to ask you to do this if you don't want to, but are you willing to share an example from your own life?
Yeah. I think, what I meant by that is that the whole of the guardrails, all 10 of them.
Yes.
That if I was given this, if I read this book back 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, 40 years ago, man, I would have done better. I would have been a better husband, especially to Patty. And so I just saying that. Not that I messed up all the way through till now. There was a time when, as a case in point that it relates to the book, Guardrail, Living Above Reproach. Back in a way, it's about affection. Affection, aloha. And so you aloha each and every person, right? And so that was natural for me to embrace and to be close to people, even women as well. So there's a bunch of friends that I grew up with at the hotel that I worked at for 22 years. And so there was a lot of relationships built. And so but when I got married, things changed, right? So passed away. So I learning about doing away with the old man and becoming new. Well, one of the good friends of ours, a coworker, a woman, so she would come and hug me, in the morning and stuff like that. Well, after I got married, that stuff got to go. And so I had to tell her the most awkward thing in the world, right? Because it's going against my grain almost. Because it was just natural for that to happen. But things have to change. And so that was my first taste with living above reproach. Because it's the perception part, that is so vital.
And we have a whole chapter dealing with how to physically deal with women. So I don't want to venture into that today, but perception, when I wrote the book, I said perception is reality. And my editors pushed back and said, no, that's not true. And I said, it absolutely is true. It absolutely is true. Don't wordsmith this. Perception is reality. I tell the story in the book. I was a 23-year-old man in 1989 or something like that. Maybe I was 24. And I had just become a Christian. I had just kind of got out of some non-healthy relationships with other gals. And I started volunteering with Youth for Christ Campus Life. And I remember one night, and I had just got done playing college football. I was fit. And I had just got done my college career. And I remember one night after our club, a young gal came up. She was 18. She was a senior in high school. It was May. She was almost graduated. And I put that into context because she was of legal age. I was not physically attracted to her. I was there to be a youth worker. But she said to me, hey, Jim, I only come here to stare at your body. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, what? I could have taken her home. I could have done anything legally. It would have been, and I never even considered it. But it scared me because I thought I can control me, but I can't control them. I can't control what another person brings to the table. And so I remember I went to my boss, Daryl Jansen, and I said, hey, I need, this happened. And it kind of shook me. And so he sat down and we began to build what I didn't know at the time what would be Guardrails, which would be, even as a single man trying to save myself for the woman I would eventually marry, Shanna, I knew that I had to even be above reproach as a single man. And so I vowed I would never be alone with a girl, a club girl for sure, and I wouldn't be alone with a gal unless I was going to date her. And I never even touched a woman. My wife is the only woman I've ever even touched as a Christian man. So I mean, I feel like I did it. It was hard, no pun intended, but I did it. You know what I mean? And so so what stood out in that chapter to you? Any stories, anything in that chapter, any quotes that you're like, hey, I've got a question about this?
What I just mentioned was really what perception,
Yes.
because it goes back to how I've tried to live my life is love God, love others, is putting others first before me, their needs, what they see. And so I've lived that way. That's what came out from that, just from reading that part of that chapter. You know, it's perception. Because I thought back to that time at the hotel and another time at the hotel as well, you know, as far as doing the right thing. But man, it's hard to do. It became a little easier when I got to serve as an assistant pastor at a church, small church back in Hawaii. And so then everything is about that.
Yeah.
Its perception is you got to represent. That's another word that I got out of reading that chapter, takeaway, is represent. It's about representation. We represent a holy God.
Yes.
And so it helped me to be a part of serving as an assistant pastor there, to live above reproach, to be mindful of that every move I make, leaving the door open when I'm counseling someone.
Yep.
You know, every time it was automatic. You know, so and just reflecting back on that, I said that helped throughout the years and ever since then. And so getting involved with the greeting ministry here at Church on the Hill, well, that also helped me to be mindful again of how I greet people, because growing up in Hawaii, bro, you just hug people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I came up here, mainland. I don't know how. Now I don't know how. Right?
Yeah,
It's
a little
like,
bit more
okay, what do I do? Yeah, certain people, well, for sure, women we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Just good friends, but then even now, don't side hug, no matter what. And they may be coming in, but that's up to them. But even then, it's up front in a church on Sunday, but I'm still mindful of it. It's like, oh, no. Even though I'm just not letting on to anything. And so it reflected back on the guardrail. It's like, that's what I'm doing. So we've been in the greeting ministry for a while now. And then I read the book, and then I attending coming to the MAG. It's like, oh, I'm glad I did that. It's like, dang it. It's like, I forgot all about that stuff.
Well, I think a lot of times guys get really concerned about, I don't want to offend that person. Hey, the only person I want to protect that's a female is my wife. And so what matters is what Patty thinks or what Shanna thinks. So in the book, so it's really interesting. In the book, I talk about this Greek word antipolepnos, where Paul says, hey, to live above reproach. And it's really interesting. If you go and read Dialed In, that's the book I wrote before this one, I list 20 qualifications of a spiritual leader, which should be the goal of every man. And Paul, to Titus in Titus chapter 1 and to Timothy in 1 Timothy chapter 3, he lists being above reproach as the number one thing he lists. And back in that day and age, the ordering of how you listed things was how important they were, which is why when we see the 12 apostles, or disciples, we see Peter, James, and John. They're the three top guys. You see them listed in order. Jesus also they're the only three he gave nicknames to. But Peter was the predominant disciple because he's listed first. And so when we go over to this list in the pastoral epistles, we see living above reproach is first. So that tells us that is one of the bookends. That is the most important quality a man can have. Because if a man doesn't have the quality of integrity or living above reproach, all the others crumble. And so here's a funny story. So this Greek word is antipolepnos. Antipolepnos. And I tell the story in the book of my 40th class reunion. And knowing my wife would be the prettiest girl in the room. But remembering back to this girl I went to high school with, this little Greek gal who was super athletic, beautiful, untouchable, beyond reach, ran the Christian, I just all-state athlete, the gorgeous brown curly hair, emerald green eyes. Annie was her name, Annie Palepnos. And I tell the story of if Annie showed up, we'd be in trouble. My wife would not be the best one in the room. But Annie never showed up because I made her up. I bait and switch here, so I spoiler for the book. So I made her up, but I made her up to explain this point that word is one of the definitions of that Greek word is to leave nothing to lay hold of. And so to me, when I think of that, I think of my shoestrings. I double knot my shoelaces because I don't want anything to pull them apart. And so for a man, when it comes to, in the context of other relationships, we have to tie every shoestring in our life and leave nothing to lay hold of. And so when I say that to you, Kent, you're 70, or you're not 70, 66. So when I say to you, Kent, as a 66-year-old man who's been married 40 years, what are some shoestrings that you think are really important for these young guys to tie so that they have nothing to lay hold of that could come back and bite them in the butt because of perception that became a reality, or a reality that became a reality? What are some things you would tell these guys that they need to do?
I would say that first of all, I'm not a looker. I'm gonna handle it this way. I'm not a looker, and I wasn't athletic. I did some sports, but not athletic. I'm not athletic looking, but there's another part of it that can be attractive to women, and that's the emotional ability.
Yes.
To reach their emotions, to understand them, to listen to them, and to be charming to them, to where they don't normally see or experience. So that's the other aspect. That's what I would share with guys. You may not be athletic. You may not be a good look. You may not be a looker.
Yeah.
About that. You may not think you are, but then you have something else that can be let's say a weapon.
That's good.
To other women that would attract them to you. And I think that's what I had because of how I'm made. Because I take after my dad, who's very personable, who loves the limelight. I really don't, but anyway, I guess I do. I'm a kind of a more outward kind of guy, party kind of guy. I like to make people feel comfortable and feel welcome and stuff like that. So that exudes from me naturally, and that's attractive to women. So you've got to be mindful of that as well. That one goes that is not as direct as someone who's physically attractive. Then when women are physically attractive, like you share in your book about that story, about that girl. Anyway, for us, it's like for guys like me and guys out there like me that can attach or connect with the emotional side of a woman, you may not always see it. You may not always see them being attracted to you. And so I think that's what I thought about that when I was reading the book. I said, I think, because I look in the mirror every day and I don't see nothing except my wife thinks I'm like,
oh yeah. Well, it's funny that, my wife and I have talked about this a lot. Like, women are not attracted to physical beauty the way men are. Women are attracted to emotional beauty and that guy, right? And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you this, Kent. Like, I know I'm no oil painting either. Have you seen me? But I'll tell you this, like, I know, and this is in the book. I think this is the second chapter of the book. Before I even get into the guardrails, I know what I'm capable of.
yes.
I'm capable of doing horrible things. And I'll tell you what else I know about myself. I'm one choice away from stupid. I am one decision away from stupid. Because stupid is as stupid does, to quote the great theologian Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump, buddy.
Yeah, so I think you're right. And I'll tell you what, for me, when I think about, okay, guys, how do you live above reproach? I would say, hey, are you filtering or monitoring, or do you have accountability software? Do you have something that's going to keep you aligned with what you believe? have you purged your social media accounts of ex-girlfriends and girls you don't know? I mean, I have women on my social media, but it's on my Facebook page because anyway, I won't get into Instagram because somebody else. I don't have a personal page for that, but I don't have anybody on that Facebook page that's not in my youth group or in my family. The women who are there are, somehow connected on a non-threatening way. Otherwise, I just think you got to purge them. And creating, not direct messaging other women. There's so much there. Like, I have a friend of mine who, he was texting a high school girlfriend. This is a man our age, and his wife saw it. And it was a bad deal. It worked out okay. He did the right things. But I mean, those are things that are loose shoestrings that can get you, Satan can reach up and trip you up with that. So important.
Yeah. You brought up another part of the book that I would share with younger guys too. And older guys. It don't matter what age you are.
Nope.
Everybody's one step away from doing something totally stupid. Yeah.
And well, the other thing is let's say I do something stupid, but it's a very small stupid. And I keep doing that small stupid. And that small stupid becomes a bigger stupid, bigger stupid, bigger stupid. I mean, and one of the things that I'm very aware of is that Satan is a very patient predator. I mean, I think of, and I don't like to badmouth guys, but I think of like Ravi Zacharias. After he dies, all this stuff comes out. Right now in the Christian world, we have the Philip Yancey thing going on, where there's this guy, phenomenal Christian author, who had an 8-year adulterous affair. These things are heartbreaking, but I'm just as stupid as those guys. Potentially, we are nefarious by nature, and if we don't curtail that through wise choices, it leads us down a path of destruction.
Yeah, I share the same outlook, especially about characters in the Bible as well that we read about.
Yes.
And it's easy to say, I wouldn't do that. Yes, you would. I always come from the position where I'm no better than that guy. The mistakes that they made, David, Joseph, they all made mistakes, and so I'm no better than those guys. And so I carried it over to friends of mine, or people that we know or hear about, and just the terrible things that they do. Even the guys that murder people and stuff like that, we're no better than that, except for the grace of God. We would be the same.
We're capable of some horrible things. Well, now think about this for a second. So what is it, 1 Kings 11? Is it 2 Kings 11? David's on the roof when the kings go to war, right? Yeah. So we don't know the context of what led him to stay, but he's on the roof in the cool of the afternoon, and then, I don't know, he had 30 mighty men, and the mighty men built homes around the castle. So his castle is surrounded by his mighty men. He looks down, well, there's Bathsheba. Okay. How many of you would really walk away from that? Like, that would be rough. Here he is, and there she is, right? So then it progresses, stupid, 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 and here we are. But I do want to ask you this question. So in the chapter, when I wrote this chapter, my dev editor, who's outstanding, really kind of picked that apart, the part about Joseph and Potiphar's wife. So I take that story and modernize it, where she becomes his boss, and she's beautiful and older and powerful and seductive. And he said, I think that you're not giving Joseph the benefit of the doubt here. I think you might be going a little bit over the top with that story. What did you think? When you read about Joseph, was I too harsh on Joseph?
No.
Why? Okay. Why?
I think.
Okay. Talk to me.
To me, that's real, and so it was really brilliant about turning that into the biblical story into now. I mentioned this before a little earlier that was brilliant on your part. It was really neat to see you apply an everyday what we face every day. To the biblical story. And so, no, Joseph had a choice.
And then the other thing is, every time you'd been in there, she had people in there. And then the one time she's alone in there,
She set you
She's
up.
clearly alone. She set you up and you did it. So I think there are women who will prey on men. And we as men need to be careful. But then the flip side of that is we as men will prey on women. Like, I'm assuming that the men are the victim here. The men are not the victim. Most of the time, I would say the men are the predators.
Yeah.
And so you had said it earlier, be careful what you say. Like, you and I are, like, you're a better looking dude than I am. But here's the deal. Like, we've loved, between you and I, we've loved our women almost 100 years. Think about that. Between Patty and Shanna, 93 years. So, well, good job for us. But I know exactly what to say to my wife. You know exactly what to say to Patty. If we wanted to be nefarious, we could transfer what we say to our brides to another woman, and they would bite it hook, line, and sinker because we've had 100 years of practice.
Yeah.
How frightening! How horrifying is that? I mean, I know. So I know what you are capable of. And you're one step away from stupid. And right, I am too. I'm one step away from stupid. I know what I'm capable of. And so I think when we talk about this chapter on living above reproach, we have to really be careful. Because I'm not blaming women at all. I end every chapter with this sentence. I know what I'm capable of, do you? And I think it really starts with that, man. I know. Yeah. And I can tell you this, bro, with 100%. I'm assuming for you too, I've never even come close to cheating on Shanna. And it's in me. It's in me. But I've never come close because knowing what I'm capable of, and and God, please protect me because, the moment you open your big mouth, Satan sends a predator. But, because of these guardrails, just very careful. And with God's help, thank you, Jesus, we've done well. Yeah. And so, and then my wife writes sections of the book for the women, and she's a flight attendant. And so for her, when it comes to this chapter, man, she puts guardrails up super high. Yeah. So it's just really fun to work with her together so cool. And to join with her in that journey. Same with your wife, like we have these journeys together with 40 years with a woman. Why would you ever screw that up?
Yes. That's the thing, too.
I mean, I don't know, man. So anything else in the chapter stand out that you want to bring to my attention or questions?
Yeah, as you were talking just now, it's just another way that I connect with Joseph is that in a way that you get, there's certain things that feed our ego, and so him going up to the office because he was a good employee and stuff like that too. Joseph was magnificent.
Yep.
I mean, he accomplished so much. God just was with him. Yep. And he did so much for Egypt at the time. And which all played into God's plan. But that can get to your head. Yes. And so when people pay homage to you, in a sense, or accolade, you get to that point. So I get why, even more so, Joseph had a responsibility, that got the best of him at that time, perhaps, that he didn't even recognize.
Well, Kent, you're speaking my language right now because we started a prayer group for this book because as a staff we sensed that God's doing some great things and we've come under attack in some areas. Yeah. And so we prayed yesterday for an hour. Nope, that's not true. It was a half an hour because we got interrupted. So we're moving it to Wednesday nights at 5:30 so our team can come and pray. And one of the things I prayed was that God, because in the Bible, whenever God blesses a man and he has success, pride creeps in and there's a fall. Yeah. And so I prayed yesterday that God would keep me humble, get around people that would call me out, because I know that with success, and we're seeing more and more success, that pride comes. And what comes after pride? Yeah, the fall. And so, and I had one of the guys said to me, man, I was impressed that you prayed that prayer. Like that was very vulnerable. And I said, bro, I know what I'm capable of. Do you?
Yeah.
And so, no, that's so good, Kent. Hey guys, listen, I want to say this first of all, before I say goodbye to Kent. This book is available on Amazon right now for pre-order. Make sure you grab some copies. We'd love to have you do that. It really, really helps us. I think you're going to love the book. Pick it up. Kent, it's so good to hang out with you, man. I feel like I feel like if I were to live in another state, I'd be a Hawaiian, man.
Yes,
I
you
just because
would.
of Portuguese blood. I mean, I do appreciate that about you, man. And
You're
then
a local guy.
and then you're half Japanese, right?
Yes.
And so my first cousins are half Japanese, so we might be related, man. We might be related. Great to have you on the show, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, thanks for coming in and joining us today on this great conversation. Until next time, feel the wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty. Grind it out. Protect your integrity and be a man.